This podcast should not be listened to whilst driving or operating heavy machinery. This is Living Lightly with Jenny Light. Yogic philosophy, guided meditations, and pranayamas. Please subscribe for all future podcasts. Welcome to today's session. Enjoy.
For today's session, we're going to do a cooling breath, a breath that is great for warm weather. It's great for cooling down the reptilian brain, and it's also great for stress. It's called the Sheetkari breath or a Sheetali breath. Depends on whether you're a tongue roller or not. It's slightly different. I'll describe that in a moment. And we're going to look at the bindu point at the back of the head. So this is not a chakra, but it is where there is an amrita. It's a nectar that drips down continually. There's a certain amount of this liquid. I wouldn't mean liquid in a physical sense. It's liquid in an astral body sense that continually drips down. There's only a certain amount of it for this lifetime, and that continually drips from the bindu point at the back of the head, which is where the whirl of the hair is, and it drips down and is lost once it hits the fire of Manipura in the navel chakra. Once it hits that, it's burnt. So what you're going to do today is you're going to contain it on the tongue. So that allows you then to hold that liquid on the tongue. It has a very sweet taste, almost like honey, but it's pure quintessential life force. It has a warming presence of its own, almost like it was a liquor. Not that I drink alcohol, but it's almost like a liqueur. It has beautiful sweet taste. And it has a warmth that sits on the tongue. So you're going to contain that and let that be absorbed then through the tongue into the whole throat area. And then it warms out from the body from there. The moon at Bindu produces amrita, a life-giving nectar, and the sun at Manipura consumes it. This means that during the course of a life, a drop of nectar produced at the bindu falls down to Manipura, where it is consumed by the fire element. Due to this process, one suffers from the three ailments, which are disease, old age, and death. Yoga and Tantra employ techniques by which one is able to reverse this process so that the amrita is retained at Vishuddhi. That's the throat, or sent back up from Manipura to Vishuddhi and then to Bindu. In this way, perfected yogis have experienced immortality. So, we're working with containing that liquid today so that it doesn't then just become consumed. If you have a finite number of drops of this liquid to span out your life, then you not only turn back the clock and bring rejuvenation, but you also prolong the lifespan. So that's, in a nutshell, what we're doing today. And I think if this could be potted and sold by face cream manufacturers, then they would, but it can't. It has to be done personally by each individual to tap into this. So the breath today is the Sheetali or Sheetkari breath. So depending on whether you're a tongue roller or not. So if you are a tongue roller, then you make a small tube with the tongue and you breathe in over that as you tip the head back. So it's like breathing in through a small pipe, so it would be, and then rolling the tongue back so that it touches the roof of the mouth, and holding the breath, and then bringing the head back so the chin is horizontal again, and breathing out. So it's in that small containment of the tongue back that you're catching that liquid. Okay, you can imagine that it's now in the pool of the tongue and it stays there. Even until the next breath, it stays there. Okay, so we have on the roof of the mouth important connection points. So when we did the mudras of the hands, we connected, say, for instance, forefinger and thumb, and that connected a connection. There are lots. That's a common one that is used. But there's a point in the roof of the mouth where you can experiment it before we start, that you touch the tongue to the roof of the mouth until perhaps you feel that there's a point on the soft palate where there is a slight electrical sensation. Then you know you've touched a spot that is going to give you a connection. It's got a different sensation. So experimenting with that. The other breath that is, if you're not a tongue roller, then you are doing the same thing, but you are just breathing it over the tongue and bringing the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Depends whether you're a tongue roller or not. It's got a slightly different technique. But it's if you're not a tongue roller, then you're breathing through the teeth. So it would be like this, teeth together. Tongue to the roof of the mouth. And then chin level again and breathing out. They both have the same aim. So allowing yourself to, first of all, be upright in your seated position. Allow yourself to be upright. Allow the breath to come into the body. And before we start, we're going to bring praying hands together. Bring left and right in towards the heart. Breathing in to extend the hands in front. And breathing out to open the hands, either side of the body. Breathing in to lift the hands in an arc above the head. Hands meeting, interlock thumbs and stretch up. Stretch out of the sitting bones. And then breathing out, heel of the hands on the crown of the head. Head pushes up, hands push down, tongue extends out as you breathe out. And then bring your hands back in towards the heart. Being aware of the body breathing either side of the hands, and that you are poised between left and right, that you are centered in that balance between the left and right, as matched between the left and right lungs and the left hand and the right hand, so that you are centered between the two hands. And that the body breathes into the heart. And starting with a prayer. Divine Father, Divine Mother, illuminate me with thy presence. Lift me from the mundane to the real. Lift me from suffering into bliss. Lift me from ignorance into everlasting knowledge. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. And then taking the hands down into the lap to rest. So imagine your fingertips had extended into the centre of the spine, and breathing in, extend that, lift the hands up through the body, and then holding the breath with the hands poised either side of the head, basking in the light of the crown in a glorious golden white light. You might also want your eyes to look slightly up. And then as you breathe out, reverse that, bringing the fingertips down the front of the body, tracing the fingertips down the centre of the spine, back into the lap. We're going to do that with the tightening of the pelvic floor muscles, the mula bandha. So it is a breath in and breathing out, tighten up the pelvic floor muscles. And then release that as you breathe in again, drawing the fingers up the front of the body as if they were tracing through the spine and opening either side of the head, basking in the light, the glory of the crown. 1,000 petals shining like the sun. And then when you need to breathe out, drawing the fingers again back down through the spine, down the front of the body, as if you were trailing them in water. Back to the base. Breathe in. Breathe out. Tighten up the pelvic floor muscles. Release that as you breathe in and draw the fingers again back up through the spine, up the front of the body, until they are placed either side of the head. Eyes looking slightly upward to bask in the 1,000-petaled sun above the head. And then when you feel like breathing out by drawing the fingers again back down through the spine, back down to the base chakra. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And just as you've finished breathing out, pull up the pelvic floor muscles. Release that as you breathe in and draw the fingers again back up through the spine, either side of the head, hands facing upward, basking in the light of the crown. Allow your eyes also to be basking in this spiritual sunlight. And then breathing out to draw the fingers back down through the spine, down the front of the body to the base. A deep breath in. And a breath out, pulling up for the last time on the pelvic floor muscles. Breathing in up the front of the body. Lifting up the front of the body, extending hands either side of the head to bask in the light of the crown. Imagine that glory of the crown is coming down from on high, but also illuminated from within. And when you're ready, breathing out by bringing the fingertips back down through the spine. And then allowing the hands just to relax where they will in the lap. Be aware of the body breathing in and breathing out. Perhaps there is a softness and a warmth in each one of the chakras, so that the base chakra is glowing. The sacral chakra is opening its 6 orange petals, and orange light flowing around that area of the body, including the spine at the back. The navel is shining with the warmth of the sun with its yellow petals, and the whole of the midriff is that beautiful yellow, including the middle of the back. Like a yellow belt. The heart is opening into its expansive green light with all the oomph and joy of spring. And be aware that the space between the shoulder blades is also bursting forth with this beautiful spring green light. Moving into the pit of the throat, opening up into sky blue, like a pale blue scarf around the throat. Opening up into the deep indigo blue of the brow, the centre of the head and the back of the head. Deep indigo blue, like looking into the night sky with the peace and expansiveness of the night sky. Above the head, pure white light, the light of 1,000 suns. And then becoming aware of the bindu point at the crown of the hair. As a dot of light. With its constant minute secretion of amrita. So becoming aware of that point first of all. This is the point where your consciousness becomes universal. And bringing in the coolness of the light of the moon. And then becoming aware of the tongue. We're going to do a little relaxation of the tongue first. So take the tongue behind the top teeth and swallow. Then take the tongue behind the bottom teeth and swallow. And then be aware of the tongue resting in the mouth. Even with the lips closed and the breath entering through the nostrils, there is a slight rush of air coming over the back of the tongue. Become aware of that before we do any of the exercise. Perhaps we have lips together, but allow the jaw to relax so that the teeth are apart. And this allows more cavity space at the back of the throat, but also the base of the tongue. Perhaps there is a little flow of air over the middle of the tongue. And then we're going to do the chosen breath by rolling the tongue, or the alternative is to breathe in through the teeth, containing that liquid that has dropped from the bindu point onto the tongue by rolling the tongue back to touch the roof of the mouth, holding the breath. And then allow the tongue to relax as you breathe out again, bringing the chin level. So assuming your position, whether that's through closed teeth or whether that is by rolling the tongue, and then just breathing in. So it's a long, smooth breath in as you tip the head back to look up. Touch the tongue to the roof of the mouth, hold the breath. Be aware of a warmth or a coolness in the tongue. And then return the tongue to normal, bringing the chin level, breathing out. The breath in through teeth or over the rolled tongue. The head looks up, touching the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Contain, hold the breath. And then bringing the tongue back down to normal, bringing the chin level, breathing out. Make the inhale and the exhale smooth. Breathing in, touching the tongue to the roof of the mouth, curling it back until it's met its socket that feels right. Contain liquid, absorbed through the tongue, then bring the chin level in exhalation. Just continuing in your own breath. So you are focusing on the coolness of the air as you breathe in, the containment of that coolness as you touch the tongue to the roof of the mouth, and then letting the tongue relax as you breathe out again over the tongue through the mouth. So your focus, once you've got the hang of the mechanics, is on the coolness of the passage of air on the tongue or through the teeth. Is the containment of that coolness in the tongue, as if you had a little bowl on the tongue containing sweetness, and then a long, smooth exhalation. So you're allowing that sweetness to then be absorbed through the tongue. From there, it'll flow into all the cells of the body. Focusing on the coolness over the tongue, on the inhalation. Focus on the containment of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, containing that amrita. And then focusing on breathing out through the tongue, chin level, this long smooth exhalation, being aware of an awakening within the throat. This is the throat chakra, which is sited at the pit of the throat. Breathing in over the tongue, the containment of the breath has an awareness of the bindu point at the whorl of the hair. And the exhalation allows a smoothness of breath over the tongue with an awareness of an awakening into the throat. And then making the next breath your last one. And bring your awareness into the throat. So that the throat then moves from its normal state of being into the third dimensional world. It moves into a multi-dimensional space, expanding. Rays of light, like a ruff of a medieval costume, rays of light in all directions. No longer constrained by the story of the third dimension. And able to sit and savour the silence. But sometimes words are not required. So that we move into a state of being. And in this state of being, listening. Listening to the sound from the back of the head. Perhaps experiencing a thrumming sound. A sound that is beyond the physical body. just listening into an expansive sound. Or just simply listening. And imagine yourself in the vastness of space, way above the physical body and the physical plane, with an ability to be expansive in any direction that you choose. Choosing to be expansive. Choosing to be unlimited. And from this high elevated space, seeing the small daily drama as just that. See it from far, as if you were looking through the wrong end of a telescope. That it makes it further away. As the little play of events were like watching ants playing out. And from this elevated position, choosing to let go of your involvement in some way or other, that you're not quite so caught up in the drama. That will always appear as a feeling. When you know something's right, it has an expansive, happy, joyful feeling, or just a deep sense of knowing that it's right. When something needs to shift or change, it brings with it a feeling of shrinking, hiding, squirming, or generally feeling unhappy. And bring that feeling to the fore. It's not linked to the story. It is a habitual way of being that you have expressed yourself through, which is limiting. And choosing to be unlimited. Still that feeling by bringing it to the fore and handing it over to the universe, handing it over to the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, and the universe. Choose to be unlimited. Sometimes behind our attachment to reacting in such a way, there is another attachment to perpetuating that limited frame of mind, that limited feeling, that limited state of being. So in the vacuum that's left behind, perhaps identifying a deeper attachment to that limited identity and choosing to tease out the fibres of that as well. And hand it over. For it is not you. Anything that is limiting is not you. You are as expansive as the sky, as the universe, all places at once, unlimited by time or space. unchangeable through lifetimes, even though the body may go through changes, you as the soul do not. And always in a state of perpetual joy. Anything that is limited is not you. Choosing to tease out the fibre and let it blow away in the breeze. It is not you. Any limited feeling, tease it out. It is not you. So that you are left with an expansiveness, an ease and beauty across the heart, a bubbling sense of joy from within, a joy that has no stimulus, it merely bubbles up for an irrepressible state of being within. And bringing in an affirmation, I am limitless. I am eternity. I am limitless. I am eternity. I was here before this world existed, and I will be here after it is gone. I am everlasting. I am pure, quintessential light. Untainted by anything that this world can present. That I am. And coming into the mantra, so on the inhale, and a gentle, expansive hum on the exhale. He that I am, or I am he. So on the inhale, hum on the exhale. Calming on the fibres of the being, of the astral body, and the nerves of the physical body. So on the inhale, hum on the exhale. When you choose to lay aside the jagged edges of who you thought you were, as outwardly identified with a story, you find that there actually is just an ocean of calm and peace in the warm waters of the soul. and that this is who you truly are, your true state of being. Breathing in so, and breathing out ham, creating a quiet upon the waters, as if you were surrounded by a warm pool of water, that you are waist deep in warm water. And the so, ham, breath brings the water surface and increasingly into the depth of the water, into a deep quiet, a stillness from within. Perhaps the body wants to hold the inhale or retain after the exhale. Just notice what it wants to do. Perhaps the body wants to sit still and let the breath slide away, so that it's only aware of the pool of still water. In all directions, to the front, to the back, the left and the right. The surface as still as a mill pond, and the depth of the body being held in quiet. And then taking awareness into the heart. Be aware of a deep quiet in the centre of the chest, and that the body breathes either side of that. Being aware of any sensation in the tongue and the back of the throat. Of even with the lips closed, that there is a sensation of passage of air over some area of the tongue. And then being aware of the wider physical body, starting to move fingers, starting to move toes, rubbing the hands together to create a heat in the hands, cupping the hands over the closed eyes, and bringing a nurture into the physical eyes. Gently blinking open the eyes and coming back into the room. Finishing off with 3 Oms to awaken the physical, the mental and emotional state. Okay, as if sealing in the deal. Okay, so taking a deeper breath in. Om Shanti, peace.
With warmest delight, this podcast was brought to you by Jenny Light. Find out more about Jenny's courses, retreats, workshops and publications at living-lightly.co.uk. Blessings on your spiritual path.